Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back. In this video, we are looking at the NBA slate for DraftKings and Fanduel. Happy Friday. We have 7 games today to discuss, so let's get into it. As always, if you enjoy the videos, appreciate it if you hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already. It was a great night on FanDuel, one of the better nights of the season, if not the best night. 366.2, got some takedowns in some 100-man GPPs or 1,000-man, a few thousand-man GPPs. With that score, Devin Booker was awesome. So made about anywhere from like 8 to 12x if you played it in tournaments on FanDuel. DK fell a little bit short, needed some better production from like some of the Grizzlies didn't come through much. Jones and Jaren Jackson. And Levine was great, but just didn't get enough production out of like some of the value with Caruso and some of these other guys. But overall, pretty good day. Let's go ahead. Well, very good day if you played on FanDuel. Let's go ahead and get into today's slate. As always, if you want to check out the sponsor, it's prizepicks.com. Use my code PROCESS for deposit match up to $100. You can check out the website if you want to join. And for NBA, which is coming to a close regular season, but baseball is right around the corner, less than 2 weeks for that. Starting with the point guard picks today, we have Luka Doncic, 12-1, going up against the Timberwolves. Last time he faced the Timberwolves, it did not go according to plan. Only put up 38.5. He had 8 turnovers. Patrick Beverley was all up in his grill, fouling him half the time, but not getting called for it. So still a good matchup just because Minnesota plays fast, but I wouldn't blame you if you're gun shy on Luka, because he did burn me last time I played him against Minnesota. I like some other options here we can go to. It looks like Portland is just tanking the rest of the way. We got word that there's no Josh Hart, there's no Justice Winslow. You're probably not going to see Simons until the end of the regular season. Until next year. So I just think that they're done with trying to win games, which they haven't even been since they stopped playing Damian Lillard months ago. But we're going to get some decent value just because they're going up against Houston, and even though they have like 10 guys, the price tags on some of them are very affordable. First guy is Chris Dunn, who drew the start last game. He just signed another 10-day with them, so he's one guy that's going to get the minutes as the season comes to an end, see if he can be a part of their plans going forward in a backup point guard role. So at this price tag, going up against Houston, a team that turns the ball over at an insane clip. They play super fast, give it the most points in the league. Should be one that Chris Dunn can at least hit value, if not get you over 30 fantasy points. Over at shooting guard, not too interested in Harden. He's been pretty bad since he's been acquired. In terms of a fantasy perspective, his shots not really been falling. He's had one really good game, maybe a decent game here against Dallas. But overall, living in the 40s is not going to cut it for a guy that's $10,000. Going with another value type of play here. I don't have much interest in the 8K range, 7K range. You can look to Rozier or you can look to Anthony Edwards. Now that Doncic is back, no interest in Brunson or Dinwiddie. Their price tags have come up just from that one game that they played without Doncic. Value-wise, another guy on Portland that will get some minutes here at the end of the season and can get you a good amount of fantasy points if a shot is falling, and that's Ben McLemore. Been their 6th guy off the bench recently, playing anywhere from, if the game is close, he's playing up to 31 minutes. If his shot's falling, he's going to be out there, especially without Josh Hart and without Winslow. They don't have very many guys that they want to close with, and McLemore can be one of them if he is hitting his shots. He's been on fire the last few games from 3 and can get you some peripherals, really just a scoring threat, but that's fine at only $3,700 on DraftKings if you give him anywhere from 25 to 30 minutes. You know he's going to take double-digit shots, and he's probably going to take double-digit three-pointers. Over at small forward, your pay-up is Cade Cunningham. I like Cade, but this price tag is really high. I just never pay over $8,000 for him unless they're dealing with some injuries, and Jeremy Grant is there. So I don't think I'm going to get up to 87 for Cade Cunningham. Barrett, you can play him if there is no Julius Randle. The Knicks are basically out of the playoffs now. Not much to play for the last 9 or 10 games of the season. They're like 5 games back of Atlanta, so unless they have a epic collapse, it shouldn't be one. They really needed to get that win against Atlanta the other day, which Trae Young did not let happen. This position, you don't have very many great options, so I don't mind if you wanted to go up for like a Barrett. If there is no Julius Randle, they might just kind of hold the Randle out some of these games just because they don't have much to play for. Going with a value, I guess we can look to some of these guys in the 4K range because I don't think Kuzma will play today. So you can look to Avdija at 48. You can look at some of these other guys on the Wizards. Hachimura is probably just a probably just a power forward option. Kelly Oubre has not really been getting the minutes. He only got 5 minutes last game, but before that, I don't even know what they're doing with Kelly Oubre, but he gives you some upside in tournaments if he does get the run, but that's been very tough to come by for him. So another guy that we can look to in the 4K range, but kind of like Otto Porter Jr. He's been playing well. He sat out the last game for rest, like a lot of the other Warriors. They're without Steph Curry, so just a lot of usage for these other guys, even though they run a deep bench and they play a lot of guys. Porter's backing up Draymond at times, can back up the 3 as well. He's been just crashing the glass the last couple of games. If they wanted to play like a stretch 5, I mean, not a stretch 5. If they wanted to play smaller with Draymond at center, they can play Porter at the 4. And those guys will try to get the rebounds. So at this price tag against Atlanta, I definitely like Porter just with the lack of great options. Over at power forward, you're looking at Randall if he plays, but going up against Miami, Miami's been bad the last couple. I wouldn't be surprised if Jimmy Butler doesn't play today, just kind of as a punishment sort of from the altercation on the bench with the coach Spoelstra last game, which was pretty funny to see. So keep an eye on Butler. Coming off back-to-back losses to the undermanned Sixers and the undermanned Warriors, the Heat culture is a bit in flux right now. So at least they're at home, though, so there's a chance that Butler probably wouldn't want to sit in front of his home crowd. Power forward is pretty weak. You can go Draymond at 65. He got up to 29 minutes. Wouldn't be surprised if it clears 30. We got word that the Clippers are limiting Morris's minutes and Reggie Jackson's minutes and Batum's minutes, so maybe that means more minutes for Covington if he's able to play, but I think Hachimura looks fine. 46 value-wise, just not too many great options here. And then obviously you're going to be looking at Obi Toppin if there is no Julius Randle. Over at center, looking to get up to Embiid here, going up against Zubats. Should be able to crash the glass easily against this Clippers team. Put up 68 fantasy points earlier. That was without James Harden, obviously, but Harden hasn't really taken a lot of production away from Embiid. He's kind of let Embiid do his thing. He's still taking 19, 20-plus shots a game, even with Harden there. Harden has been much more of a facilitator and just kind of been the second guy by far. Embiid is still pushing for that MVP, so anytime that he's going to be able to drop 30 and 15, he's going to try to do it. It's a good spot. He can do it today against the Clippers. Another center that looks great today is Rudy Gobert going up against this smaller Charlotte team. I mean, even though they have a 7-footer in Plumlee, they still like to go small with like Harrell at the 5, and they play Washington at the 5 at times. But Gobert should absolutely just dominate the boards here. He put up 21 rebounds in 36 minutes earlier against them. They're awful in terms of just allowing centers to dominate them on the boards. And coming off a couple of games where Gobert it was a blowout against Boston, so 30 minutes for him. Didn't have a good game against Brooklyn, only 4 rebounds somehow. But normally this guy's getting you like 15, if not more than that. So, like Gobert, can get you some blocks with these Charlotte guards liking to drive with LaMelo and Rozier at times. And then last guy, give me Jordan Poole. Not too many great options, but I like Poole with how much he's going to play in terms of minutes and how many shots he's going to take. And he's been lighting it up as a shooter. He's made such a nice leap forward from his rookie year. And he's just been, he should get some votes for 6th man of the year. I think the books probably have like Tyler Hero locked that up, but my vote would be for Jordan Poole, the way that he's stepped up, even though he's been starting now, but still he's been a 6th man off the bench for the majority of the season before Klay Thompson. Since Klay Thompson was back. But Poole, at this price tag, 78, I like him a lot, given that 45, 50-point upside that he gives you. So that's it for DraftKings. Let's talk about Fanduel. All right, on Fanduel here, point guard picks, starting off with Luka at 10-4. It's always tough to pass up on Luka on Fanduel with him being not even 10,500. So I'll be looking to get to Luka. You can get to Trae Young. He's been balling recently. Good matchup against the Warriors. Jordan Poole still looks appealing at 78, just because you can play him at 2 spots. And you're not going to be looking at Dinwiddie, not looking at Reggie Jackson, not really looking at Brandon Williams. I'd rather get down to Chris Dunn, who we'll see what his price tag is. You have a decent tag on Kevin Porter, and then D'Angelo Russell is down to $5,900. That price tag is pretty ridiculous. You never thought we'd see him that cheap. They have Ben McLemore as point guard eligible, which is pretty hysterical, but let's see where Chris Dunn is. Okay, he's even in the player pool. Bro, come on, FanDuel. Chris Dunn, he's been on the team for over 10 days. Oh well, that's Fanduel for you. But go ahead and put in Luka Doncic at 10-4. At shooting guard, you definitely like Luka over Harden. 8K range, you can look to Mitchell. I like him more than Cade. Butler's just been bad recently and don't know how much. I mean, he's probably still steaming from that altercation with Spoelstra and Haslam. But I like Jordan Poole at 78 for sure. Value-wise, Klay Thompson at 66 looks good. Terry Rozier at only 65 with the way that he's been playing and shooting this year is definitely something I can get behind. A couple of poor games for him recently, but still playing big minutes. And they're at home, so it's not a terrible matchup. Much better than going into Utah. But Russell's price tag is really, really cheap at $5,900. He's been bad some of these games as well in the minutes. Sometimes haven't been there with some blowout issues, but that's a price tag that I can get behind. And then in the 4K range, you're going to have like maybe Herter or Kennard is going to get some more minutes with them just limiting Morris's minutes and limiting Reggie Jackson's minutes. But I'm going to go ahead and just put in Rozier at 65. That's a price tag that I can feel very good about. Small forward, we have RJ Barrett at 78. Looks like one of the better pay-ups here. You can go to Bridges. Value-wise, 66 for, I think Kuzma is probably not going to play, but if his status does happen to change during the day, you can maybe look to him at that price tag. 64 for Wiggins looks good. Kevin Porter. Kevin Porter looks good. Otto Porter looks a lot better on DraftKings. Not something I'll get to on FanDuel. Value-wise, 4K range, you have Kennard. Tate is cheap, but his minutes have come way down recently for I don't know what reason. They should be looking to get their young guys more minutes. But they do have just so many bodies since for some reason they acquired Dennis Schroeder instead of buying him out and letting him go to a contender. So at this position, not much that looks that appealing. I mean, Terrence Mann is priced all the way up to $7,000. So I'm going to go ahead and put in Wiggins at 64. Just a nice mid-range option that's going to get some more minutes. I'd rather get to him than 58 for Otto Porter, even though he's had a couple of good games recently. At power forward, top guys here, don't mind getting to Porzingis or Bam. You can even get to Christian Wood just with the matchup is pretty solid. If Randall plays at 8K, it'd be my favorite given that price tag. Value-wise, not much in the 5K range besides Toppin. I don't mind getting to Draymond at only 52. He's probably going to have a good game sooner than later, especially with him getting up to 29 minutes last game. Wouldn't be surprised if it clears 30 plus. And even though it's worse for him without Steph Curry, just less assists for him to just easily get to when he just passes to Steph Curry and he launches a three. But the price tag is really cheap if he's getting close to his full minutes. And then last but not least, at center, I love Embiid. Pay up for him. You have Gobert at 76. Those are my two top options here. Let's see if we plug in Embiid. We still have 5,000 left, so that's something I'll probably do. So that's about it for the video. Thank you for watching. Best of luck tonight, and I will see you all next time.